Hello, it's Vanda here, this time on the Diocese of Paisley podcast. Now, if I say to you Aid to the Church in Need, or ACN as it's more commonly known, what comes straight to your mind? Maybe it's a charity who helps Christians practice their faith in countries where it's not safe to do so, or a charity who supports pastoral work in remote regions of the world. But what if I told you that the ACN in Scotland has an ambitious project in the works? One which will hold an event so huge that its aim is to unite Catholics from all across Scotland through one common factor, their faith. So without further ado, I popped along to the ACN offices to meet with William Moore, the Manager of Operations, and Peter Diamond, Community Fundraiser, tasked with putting together this ambitious event. William, I can't wait to hear about this exciting venture, but first of all, please can you tell me a little bit more about the background to the ACN?
Aid to the Church in Need is a pontifical foundation, so we are under the guidance of the Holy Father. And our mission is to support our brothers and sisters where they are suffering in need or are persecuted throughout the world. And that's quite far-ranging, as you would imagine. We work in 150 countries and on average support around 5,500 projects a year.
We're here today to talk about not just Aid to the Church in Need, but there's a big first. There's something exciting brewing within Scotland and the Diocese of Paisley. So do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So this conference was conceived probably about a year ago when I was considering that I would quite like to do something to support the church in Scotland. It's often lamented that perhaps the bishops don't do enough or priests don't do enough, but really what does the laity and everyone else in the church do to build the church up in Scotland? And I really wanted to run an event which would allow us, the whole church in Scotland, to come together, to have courage and to celebrate our Catholic faith. So it's been a year in the making for this to happen. And we're pleased now we're able to say that it's taking place at the end of March this year, the 29th. And for us, it's been a long time coming, but it's very much, I think we're building up anticipation and excitement as we're about to hit March, into delivering that. So we're really hoping everyone will get on board and come and support us.
So what's like the structure of the day? What's going to happen?
Okay, so as Peter says, it kicks off about 9:30, and hopefully there'll be a buzz and everyone will come in and they'll get tea and coffee, and hopefully they'll introduce themselves to each other and meet up, and then there'll be an introduction and a welcome and a prayer from the Archbishop of Glasgow. And then there'll be a series of speakers, and I can tell you a bit more about those in a moment, throughout the day, and then there'll be a gap for lunch, which lunch is also provided. Scottish people love value for money, so having all this in their ticket price is up their street. So there'll be a lunch provided, and during that lunch break, as Peter said, there are over 20 exhibitors where people can look around the stalls and look at the breadth of the charities operating in Scotland and supporting the church worldwide. There'll then be further talks in the afternoon, and then a panel discussion where people can ask questions of our visitors, and then we'll tie that all together at the end of the day, as Peter said, with Mass in Saint Aloysius. So yeah, it's a busy day. There's a lot happening, but we're really hoping that there's enough to keep people interested and engaged and inspired.
It's jam-packed.
It is.
So tell me about this panel that you've got coming to talk.
Okay, so the speakers on the panel, I'll mention some of them. So we have Bishop William Shamali, who is the Patriarchal Vicar for Jerusalem and Palestine. And as we know, what's going on in the Holy Land is really important to us, and it's important that people here in Scotland get an opportunity to hear it from the horse's mouth about what's going on there and how that affects Christians. So the Bishop is coming to share and update us on that. We have Bishop Anagbe from the Diocese of Makurdi in Nigeria, and Father Remy from that diocese. And Nigeria itself is such a heavily persecuted country, and they're going to come and share with us what life is like to live as a Christian there today. But also that we can take courage from that. And because of that, we've also got Dr. Hannah von Spruce coming to speak, who is the Director of Global Mission for Divine Renovation, and she's coming to share with us how we can evangelise in our everyday life, how we can go from the conference, go back to our parishes and into our communities and start building up the faith of our parish and communities and the people round about us. It's that for me is the most exciting and inspiring element of this for the people in Scotland. But they can also take courage from their brothers around the world, and they don't feel so far away. So those are the speakers. Apart from ACN staff, our national director is coming, as well as our head of press and public affairs, to share the report that we produce every 2 years, which is a global report on how our brothers and sisters are persecuted around the world. And it's very informative, and oftentimes Peter and I find that when we go out and about, people say to us, why don't we know about this? So here's a perfect opportunity to get to know about it.
It's funny because I think in Scotland in particular, when we go to church, it's a safe space for us to pray. And, you know, talking to you two today has made me realise how much we take that for granted, because it's not always that way in other countries.
Yeah, it's not, and I think that's something we're trying to let people know about and maybe shout a bit louder, is the fact that 80% of all religious persecution in the world is perpetrated against Christians. So ACN have always got lots of work to do, you know, and for example, the Nigerian clergy that are coming, they will perhaps touch on it, but 5,000 Christians were killed there last year alone, and 13 priests were killed last year alone, and then 38 clergy and religious were kidnapped, abducted, tortured, that kind of thing. So it's a huge, huge issue that just isn't on our news agenda in the UK. You know, like you say, it's a safe space in Scotland, but we have a lot of religious freedom, and I think the conference is one of those opportunities for us to shout a bit louder and give us more exposure about that issue itself, because from a community fundraiser point of view, when I go to parishes up and down the country, I always interact with people and they tell me, how do I not know about this, you know?
Yeah. And I think this is also an amazing opportunity for all of these Catholic charities to get together under one roof.
It's really exciting, actually. This is a first of its kind in Scotland, to have all these people together. And for me, that was another really important aspect of this conference, is yes, it's our opportunity to give voice to the work of Aid to the Church in Need, but there are lots of Catholic charities in Scotland who work in similar areas, or who support the church in ways that perhaps we don't know about, as you know, people who sit in a pew. And this gives not only the bigger charities but the smaller ones the platform to be able to share their work and to come together, and they will hopefully build on that. This is not an end of the process, it's the start of the work that we want to do in Scotland together. And it's been really exciting and actually heartwarming to hear all these charities feel the same, and we recognise a shared mission and goal in this. I'm really looking forward to that, to have a wander around all the different stalls myself, and see the breadth of the church in Scotland. I think it's really exciting, and people should not miss that, because this has not happened before.
Because it's not long now. When is it? Where is it? How can we get involved?
So it's on Saturday the 29th of March at the Royal Concert Hall in Glasgow. It's from 9:30 until 4. There's going to be a mass after it at 5 o'clock at Saint Aloysius, which is just a short walk up the road. And yeah, people can get involved by signing up. We have 20 exhibitors coming, more than 20 exhibitors coming, so there's lots of opportunities for people to get involved. You can sign up via trybooking.com and search for the Scottish Catholic Conference or Aid to the Church in Need. You will find it. It's on our website. You can call the office
on 01698 337 470.
Thank you, William. I couldn't remember the number there. So there's many different ways you can sign up, and we've got a number of we've got an early bird offer that's still on at a discounted rate. There's also a parish offer for groups of 10 at a discounted rate as well, and that's a fantastic opportunity to bring along parishes that are really interested in maybe say a certain aspect of the conference, if it's evangelisation or Aid to the Church in Need, persecution and suffering. There are different ways to get involved. We really don't want this to be a one-off event. You know, we want this to be a huge success, not just for us but for the church in Scotland, that hopefully we can replicate this maybe in the years to come.
And here our very own Bishop John from the diocese is coming along.
He is, and Bishop John has been a fabulous friend of Aid to the Church in Need. Personally, I've known Bishop John for many decades, and he has served on our advisory group here in Scotland, and has always been a great supporter of our events, particularly our Scottish Youth Rally, which happens in September, which is, I don't know if people know about this either, is the largest gathering of young people in Scotland, Catholic young people in Scotland from all of the high schools. There's about, on average, between 700 and 1,000 young people come together to make a stand for faith and freedom, and Bishop John has always been at those events. Bishop John is coming to the conference, which we're very pleased about, as I said, because he's been a great supporter of ACN. And I remember speaking to Bishop John about our work, and he said to me that he, even back in the days when he was in seminary, he felt as if this was really important that we take the time to share with people about the persecuted church around the world, and that's why he was involved with our organisation. So it's always meant a lot to us, the relationship with Bishop John. I think it's really important that we get, for our guests coming from the Holy Land, from Nigeria, that we have a good show of Catholics in Scotland. You know, that the Scottish people are normally are known for their hospitality around the world, and it would be great when our guests come that we can show them a really good Scottish welcome. But I also hope from the conference that when people leave, they go away feeling informed, inspired, enthused, not only to do more themselves, but to have that courage to be Catholic, to be prepared to say, my faith is important to me, and I want to go out there and share it with other people. And do what Christ asks us to do, which is to go abroad and proclaim the gospel, and that's what we should be doing. So we're really hoping that this conference will inspire people to do that, and they'll meet new friends, have a blether, and some lunch and tea and coffee. It's a pretty informal day for everyone, but there's a lot happening that I think we can take so much out of. So this is not to be missed. I don't think there's enough happens to try and bring all of the whole of Scotland together. And I know it's a bit of a journey for some people, especially if you're in Aberdeen or right down in the borders, but I'm telling you now, it's well worth that journey. And come with your friends, come badger your parish priest or even your bishop, to sign up and come and bring a group and come along, because we want to make this a real success for Scotland so that we can keep doing this going forward.
And I also feel that this conference is coming at a time when, let's be honest, after COVID, numbers in the church have really started to dwindle. And I feel now this is like a boost of energy into the church to gather everyone together, to refocus, especially during Lent, because it's happening during Lent. So that's a time for everyone to kind of refocus, get some energy and get everyone back together.
Yeah, I think you're right. The church probably hasn't had an event quite like this ever, but it's much needed after COVID. We need that to be re-energised, and I think it's happening during Lent, and I feel personally I always see that as a time of renewal and growth, and you maybe try and give something up for Lent, but you also maybe try and do something, and perhaps coming to our conference is one of those things that you would consider doing this Lent for not just yourself, but for your persecuted brothers and sisters across the world.
I feel this is an opportunity for us to support the bishops, to support the priests in their work, that we can all come together as a church in Scotland, and as you say, it's a boost, it's a shot in the arm, to give us that chance to get together, to take courage, to take confidence, to take energy, and go back out there, and proclaim the gospel, along with our priests and our bishops. So this is a great time, as Peter says, during Lent for us to do that, to look inwardly, but then also to look outwardly to what we can do. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
I know this is very much the first conference for Scotland, but if there's people listening in other parts of the country, can they come too? They're
more than welcome from wherever they come from. Your accent will not be tested at the door. You're more than welcome. If you're here on holiday, if you're listening to this and you happen to be in Scotland, then get your ticket too and come along. This is about having courage to be Catholic. to be able to stand up, just as our brothers and sisters in countries that really struggle every day. It's very difficult to live their faith. We probably don't recognise how lucky we are in this country to not have the fear of the possibility of being killed by going to Mass. We can do that very easily. We can wear a cross around our neck, and there's no extreme pressure as there are in some other countries. To have our children baptised, for our kids to attend a Catholic school. These things for other Christians across the world are very difficult, and we can sometimes take that for granted. And so it's an opportunity for us to bolster our faith, to take, as I said, confidence in each other, support, to pray for our brothers and sisters, to be renewed, especially in this year of hope.
Can people turn up in the day and buy a ticket, or do you have to book in advance?
Yeah, sorry, you can't turn up on the day. Basically, you have up until the day before to book through the methods that Peter said. But the earlier you can book, the better, because then we can make sure all the administrative functions for you coming are all ready. So you'll be acknowledged as a goodie bag on arrival with all stuff in it. And there'll be a wee sneaky treat in there too. For people, so we need to get that all sorted. So that means the sooner we know who's coming, the better. But yeah, sorry, you can't just rock up on the day.
So basically, as soon as you listen to this podcast, go and book your ticket. That's what we're saying.
Exactly. Go and do that now. It's a bargain when you think on it. Tickets are £25 for a person, but that includes your tea, coffee, lunch. We have 3 speakers, and it's in a brilliant venue right in the heart of the country, in the hope that, we can get as many people as possible to come. So you'll regret it if you're not there, if you miss out on this.
We probably don't get those opportunities enough in Scotland for the whole church to come together. So the conference is a fantastic opportunity for everyone in Scotland to come together and learn about ACN, meet new friends, and see our exhibitors that are going to be there showcasing.
And I think that recognising the breadth of the church throughout Scotland, because she is alive, she is vibrant, but as Peter says, we don't get enough chance to come together, and here it is. Let's do that. Let's come together. Let's take that energy, from the conference and bring it together. Let's learn about what's happening that day from different exhibitors. Let's learn and update what we know about what's happening with our brothers and sisters across the world, and then draw that together in prayer to God at the end, by going to Mass at Saint Aloysius. For me, that's when we can then reflect on what we've heard and what we can then do about it, not only, hopefully by supporting the work of Aid to the Church in Need, but also by what can we do in our own parishes and our own communities in Scotland to build up the faith.
Well, this sounds like an event not to be missed. The first of its kind, but hopefully not the last of its kind. This surely will be a legacy for years to come. So if you would like a ticket, please don't delay. I'd hate you to miss out. Places are limited, but there are still tickets left. You can call the office on 01698 337 470, or you can click the link which will be in the message along with this podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. If you're enjoying our podcast, please remember to subscribe and leave us a review. Speak to you next time.